must have seen number of agitation which have taken place, demonstration has taken place, where things have moved from good cause to something different. All over world is witness. Whenever demonstration takes place for a good cause, one should be very careful that it should not fall into the different hand.
The population visibly is quite anti-India. The mood within Bangladesh is quite anti-India. What do you have to say about that, and how much of interference? You have mentioned about ISI and also other. Do you think China also played some role in this crisis?
Anything happen in this region, China plays with a very, very long-term policies and plan.
What is your analysis as to how it all happened so suddenly, sir? Why nobody had, predicted this kind of an outcome?
Actually, I see it a bit differently. If you see the Bangladesh crisis, I see it from the beginning when their election took place. And when the election took place, it was only Awami League which has taken part in this election, and the major BNP was not taking part in election, and Khalida Zia is still in jail. So from there thing has started, and although they got the absolute majority, 70% vote, but somewhat some shimmering was there. All these radical right wingers, fundamentalists, ISIS agent, ISI agent, Pakistan involvement, and if you see pre 1971 and post 1971, there is always right wing fundamentalists, and the interference of Pakistan is always there in Bangladesh, whether it is insurgency or any kind of Muslim religious fundamentalism. That is already there, that exists. And this got compounded when the election took place and Awami League came into power once again. And once they came into the power, just see the geopolitical situation all over the world. Here, America wanted to create some kind of military base, some kind of air base. They were trying to pressurize Bangladesh. China had different interests as far as Bangladesh is concerned. Access to Bangladesh will give a direct route to Arabian Sea, to Indian Ocean, and thereafter to Indo-Pacific region. So that was the interest of China and Pakistan, religious fundamentalists, and IS, intelligence service, ISI involvement there. So these 3-4 factors played havoc in Bangladesh, and probably, as per my analysis, Bangladesh succumbed to this situation. And this time, Khalida Zia, she was not maintaining a good health. She was in a jail, and her son was still in UK, and from there he was managing all ISI activities in Bangladesh. So all these things, if you put together, and ultimately what had happened on ground, a reservation issue came up, and this reservation issue was initially led by the student wing, and later on, as per the situation unfolded, was taken on by all these religious fundamentalists, right wingers, and the situation reached to an extent where mob reached into the prime minister house without resistance. And you know what has happened thereafter: total vandalism, total break of law and order situation, and total disruption of normal civic activities. So this thing was shimmering. It has not happened suddenly. uh, where Sheikh Hasina failed is to understand the internal situation. She kept on harping on the student issue, although Supreme Court has struck down 30% reservation. Yet she was unable to. And the demand, what was that? Those students who have been killed, their SITs to be formed, they should be given compensation and things like that. All demands were met, but ultimately it has fallen into a different hand. You must have seen number of agitation which have taken place, demonstration has taken place, where things have moved from good cause to something different. All over world is witness. Whenever demonstration takes place for a good cause, one should be very careful that it should not fall into the different hand. Same thing happened in Bangladesh. Student agitation taken over by the religious fundamentalists, BNP, and things like that. And the most thing is that Jamaat-e-Islami, which is a radical force in Bangladesh, that is the banned organization, but their student wing is active. They remain in power. So that kind of situation has happened. It was totally, she could not understand the internal shimmering what is happening. Bangladesh since 71, incident has happened in 1975 when her father was killed, 3 brothers were killed. That situation should have played up in her mind. And when you are in a power, always go back in history and try to analyze what could lead you to the worst situation. Sheikh Hasina totally failed in that. why this kind of situation has happened. Therefore, what I see that to some extent, Awami League is also responsible for this kind of situation. There was a rampant corruption. There was a nepotism. There was all these government officials. They were going out of the way to garner a lot of money and ultimately moving to US and things like that. So situation was not good. What she concentrated is on external thing. Time and again she was coming to India. Time and again she was going to China and US, trying to pacify the entire thing as far as international issues are concerned. But domestically she failed, and the religion fundamentalists they came into the being, and that is how this situation is right now grim. The good thing right now, what I see is the chief, who is right now the chief of the army staff of Bangladesh Army. He is not anti-India. He said immediately that interim government will be formed, and this interim government will not include any person of Awami League. That is the setback. But I see that this interim government will be of the bureaucrats, intellectual, think tank, economists, reformists, environmentalists. If you make this kind of combination and lead the nation so that you create a situation where democracy can flourish, you can hold the election in free and fair manner, and do not ban any political party like Awami League. Awami League has got very big base. Initially, you have debarred them. I can understand that because of the sentiment, because of the upheaval, because of the arsonist on the road, because 5 lakhs people are on the road, they are demonstrating. So for the timing, this may be acceptable, but later on, once you go for the democratic process, all parties should be given a chance to participate in election, and that is how the stable government will be formed. And then as far as internal dynamics is concerned, Bangladesh is not in a situation to go against India. A lot of trade issues are there, security issues are there. Options are to either go in the fold of China or follow the line of India. So Maldives is the right example. Maldives has tried to go against India, but ultimately it has fallen in the lap of India. Same thing may happen for Bangladesh. Initially, it may look that it is anti-India, but gradually and slowly, even the interim government, even later they have to be dependent upon India, because a lot of trade issues are there, a lot of dependency is there, and we want that in the neighborhood there should be stability, there should be prosperity, and as for the policy is concerned, we do not interfere in anybody's internal affair, whether it is a Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, or any country for that matter. We respect the sovereignty of our neighbors. We want that the regional peace should prevail. On that line we work, and if you have the noble cause, this kind of attitude, any government come, any government form in any neighborhood, they have to listen to India, because they have got no option but because of economic issue, because of the stability, because of the cooperation, because of the goodwill, because of the India's standing in the world. So these are the factors. I do not see that we should get unnecessarily alarmed. The only thing is that another route of infiltration has opened, another route of all these extremists. They come into the India, do some kind of terrorist activity. For that, our security forces are capable. BSF is on the guard. 4,096-kilometer border is well guarded. We are monitoring closely. We are not closing eyes. Our external affairs ministry, even our prime minister, cabinet committee of security, all these people are meeting, discussing, evaluating the thing. We are keeping our guards on. We are monitoring it, and will ensure that the some kind of peace, stability should prevail. We should provide all the help to Bangladesh interim government so that they have a stable government and they go for the democratic election in days to come. Yes, Eric.
Sir, there are very valid points that you have made, sir. But before you joined, we had one point which was noted by me, that one big lesson that India must learn from this whole crisis, that opposition has its place. A viable opposition in a democracy is a very good option. It must remain. If the opposition is wiped out by hook and crook, then the people of the country take law and order in their own hands. This is what happened in Sri Lanka, because when the opposition is not there and you become autocratic, these kind of situations are naturally occurring. And one more thing, sir, the population visibly is quite anti-India. The mood within Bangladesh is quite anti-India. What do you have to say about that, and how much of interference? You have mentioned about ISI and also other. Do you think China also played some role in this crisis?
First, I'll take on your opposition question first. I said that in January election which has taken place, where Bangladesh Nationalist Party has not taken part. It was voluntarily they have not taken part because their supreme leader was in jail. She was not maintaining good health. They should have persuaded to participate in election, even at the cost of postponing, preponing, or some kind of persuasion. This should have been done. That is how the global acceptance of Bangladesh election is not there. The kind of election which has taken place, it was totally one-sided. It was a formality. That is how people were very, very unhappy. It is compounded by reservation issue. It is compounded by corruption. It is compounded by Awami League is having dominant role in Bangladesh geopolitics. What has happened that reservation, why people have resisted? Up till now, they were not. Because this 30% reservation was totally enjoyed by Awami League party people. Because they said they are the freedom fighter, they get the reservation. Lot of fake certification has taken place. Lot of manipulation has taken place where people have got undue advantage. Movement is started by a student, taken over by the radicals, and that is how this thing has happened. Acceptance of election was not there. Therefore, what you point you have made, opposition should be there, all parties should be taken into consideration. Exactly, that is what my point is. I'm saying even after the interim government is formed, even when you hold the election, do not leave the Awami League. Awami League is also a potent force, potent political party in Bangladesh. If you have Bangladesh National Party, Jatiya Party, and things like that, Awami League is also one of the political party and a dominant and major political party. Don't leave them. Firstly, once you make the interim government, don't have any kind of radical thought. They should have included Awami League as well because their leaders are still in Bangladesh. Only one leader has gone out of the country, that is Sheikh Hasina. Rest everybody is there. Take them into the fold because that is the major chunk. Second issue is about opposition is always good because they get the sense of participation in the government and in the civil system. If you totally alienate them, put them in the bar, in the behind the bar, then some kind of alienation comes, some kind of radical thought comes. It is very easy to buy this kind of people to go for any kind of arsonist activities. Therefore, yes, opposition has got very great role to play in nation building as far as various policies concerned. They give very critical thought. Here, Bangladesh has gone wrong. Absolutely, I do not advocate that January election was a free and fair election because one major party has not taken place. 1991 onwards, Bangladesh is having two political parties. One is Awami League, one is BNP. And BNP is not taking part, then it has become one-sided election. So here things were wrong. And even after coming into the power, she should have again be little more reformist. If you assume part, then you are the prime minister of whole country, not of Awami League, not of a particular community. That probably message has not gone into it. Reason was that what I am assigning where Sheikh Hasina has succumbed to thing is that American pressure and Chinese pressure. She was trying to balance it out and neglected internal affairs. And for all the MOUs and the commerce and trade, she was totally dependent on India. And India has considered Bangladesh as a most favorable nation. Our trade is, you see, it has gone up 46% higher. 2017 figure and 2025 figure, if you see, there is a quantum jump in all, whether it is a raw cotton, whether it is a refined petroleum product, or whether it is an engineering tool, any kind of trade if you take. And it was good for India because balance of payment was in favor of us. We were exporting more and importing less. So it was good for the country and it was good for the Bangladesh because their textile companies were flourishing. Their economic growth was 6%. So all these things has happened, but she could not understand shimmering. She could not understand what radicals are wanting, what their masses are requiring, because one sect was totally neglected. Here she has gone wrong. And second question, I'll come about the China's involvement. Anything happen in this region, China plays with a very, very long drawn policies and plan. See what is happening right now. Pakistan, in what state it is? It is a blind ally of China, I call it. East Ladakh, Nepal, there is a change in government. And government which is right now in place is a pro-Chinese. See, Myanmar, this military junta atrocities and the kind of commotion is there. There is a total involvement of China. Bangladesh, this turnover which has taken place. Go to Sri Lanka, see that Hambantota port is totally with China. And the kind of turmoil, the kind of storm which has taken place in Lanka, it is well known. Maldives. See the entire encirclement and see the China's involvement in Middle East. Iran. Thereafter, it is a Saudi Arabia Iran diplomatic deal. Saudi Arabia Syria diplomatic deal. Who has organized? It is China. And then ultimately it is collaboration with the Russia. So see, the entire region is coming in fold, and that is how China is challenging US. And India plays a very important role in Asia. In Asia, there are two giants, China and India. If India is entangled from all fronts, naturally China will have mighty love. And right now, China interest in Bangladesh is the Indo-Pacific region. Through this area, China is having complete sea line of communication secured. This sea line of communication, China will have surveillance. That is how China has differences with Philippines. So all these issues, if you put together, I am 100% sure it is the Chinese involvement with the connivance with ISI of Pakistan. Because Muslim fundamentals provide the basic need for any revolution or any agitation to start. Thereafter, all this uneducated, unemployed, religious-minded people, they give fuel to fire. They come onto the street. To top it all, security forces unable to control the law and order situation. All these people walk very freely to the prime minister residence and do this kind of commotion. So she had no option. And Pakistan, Bangladesh army giving only 45 minutes to prime minister. She was not even allowed to address the nation. And then they flew. So if you put all these things together, there is a clear-cut connivance between ISI and China, and that religious fundamentalists who has always been there pre-1971 and post-1971. They are operating there, and that is how this whole thing has happened. She has failed miserably in understanding the internal situation. If you are a good prime minister, you have to devote 80% time seeing your internal situation. What opposition party, what they are doing, what is law and order situation, what is the aspiration of a student, how you can handle, how you can tackle, and thereafter balance of the time you can devote for the international affair. But things have become reverse in her case, and she succumbed to that kind of pressure, and ultimately she had to leave the entire thing and rush to the India. Now again, her asylum is in question mark. Most likely she will go to UK seeking asylum. UK constitution provides this kind of provision for any head of state or any citizen to seek asylum in UK. Most likely it will come through, and she will transit from India to UK and seek the permanent asylum there. This is what I can assess. Yes, India.
Just one more thing, sir. Do you visualize a very peaceful transition to the new government, whichever government comes up, and without Awami League that mentioned earlier also? How do you think that power struggle is going to be in the near future?
As far as my analysis is concerned, I see it right now. Those who are in the street, chief of the army staff has requested or appealed to them that law and order to be maintained, peace is to be established. All arsonists and agitationists, they should go back. Probably he will succeed in that, because ultimate aim was to throw out Sheikh Hasina, which has already taken place. BNP, she has been, Khalida Ji has been released. 500, 600 prisoners, there was an attack or there was some kind of raid in the jail, and 500, 600 prisoners have been released. What kind of prisoners are they? That is yet to be seen. Most likely political prisoner or otherwise. So that kind of situation is taking place, and next 72 hours or so, probably situation will limp back to the normalcy. All those security forces will have to put in a lot of effort. Some kind of, law and order situation is to be made. The first priority of chief right now is to maintain law and order. They have to establish the interim government, and interim government should be composition of all less Awami League. And this transition gradually and slowly, what I see in next 15 to 1 month, will settle down. And how soon their election will be held, that their chief will decide, which I foresee that not for the next 6 to 8 months or 1 year. Then it will be normal whether power transfer of power takes place smoothly or not. As far as student wing is concerned, those who are agitating, they had very clearly said that they don't want any army general to rule the country. So most likely he understands his aspiration is also at different level, because he has just become a chief, just has become the general, but there are other, lieutenant generals and all, whether they are with him or not, because reports are that they are anti-Awami League. So probably this status quo will be maintained, and I do not see any further bloodbath or arsonist activity or this commotion to continue. Ultimately, army and security forces will be able to control the thing, and whatever kind of government comes up, most likely next 1 year or 18 months or 2 years election will take place. How fair it will be there, that time will decide. I have my own reservation about that. But as far as India is concerned, our relation with Bangladesh, I can this much say that whichever government comes, and that is the government stand also. Jaishankar also said, whichever government comes up, we'll continue and pursue our regional issues, regional stability, and our trade, commerce, transfer of technology, all kind of transactions. There are so many MOUs we have signed with Bangladesh, whether it is a power, whether it is a locomotive, whether it is infrastructure development, whether it is a rail, road, any sort of a transportation, everything we are developing, working in a comprehensive manner. So probably that thing will continue. And this 1 or 2 months you leave aside, our trade will resume and everything will back to normal. And we have to give a new look to the Bangladesh government. Sheikh Hasina has become now history. We have to look forward what kind of government is coming, how we can pursue our bilateral issue and ensure that peace and stability in the region. It is their internal matter. It should not happen. Their internal matter should spill over to us. People are apprehending that a lot of refugee will come. Refugee will not come. What will come is the terrorist. What will come is the anti-social element. What will come is the all this ISI agent. They will come and do sabotage and terrorist activity in India. That is our concern. Refugee, why they will come? There is the interim government form. They will have their own employment and probably all these border security forces at both sides. They will ensure that no kind of influx takes place of that night. Atrocities, what people are expecting will be there of military role will not be there. This is what I feel. Bangladesh has seen a very good development for last 15 years. 6% economic growth was there. Textile industry has flourished. They have economically grown. That is why I feel that probably this kind of refugee or this kind of influx will not take place. But we have to be very, very alert and we have to cooperate with the new government, have new relation, have new kind of understanding, and that is how we can maintain the peace and stability in this region. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Very well summed up, sir. And you have covered the whole canvas of issues which relate to India, Bangladesh, including China and Pakistan.